The biggest thing you gave me was time.
I've always been a proponent of do the job, do it well.
When you're a family, everyone in the family has to be treated with respect.
I couldn't have done this without you. Coming here to K-State, you've been my confidant and in the room with me.
I want to know who you really are, right? You can put whatever you want on paper, but that doesn't really matter.
His teachers, they meet the learner wherever he is.
They don't care what you know.
They know how much you care.
Be aggressive. Let's win. Here we go.
I tell you what, man, I'm a long way from Conroe, Texas. You know, that's kind of where we are. And I know roots are based in that area. And so as we start off, I would like to, just ask you to take us through your journey to that brings you to the place you are right now.
Oh man, it's been a great journey. I am Chip Baker, a fourth generation educator, teacher, former coach. Blessed and fortunate to be raised by some great people, as well as be around some awesome folks to learn from in my career. Just finished my 24th year in education, coached for 20 of those years. Started my YouTube channel and podcast, the Success Chronicles, about 8 years ago. And what I do is I just interview people from all walks of life and share their stories for positive inspiration and motivation. Blessed to have had you on a couple times. Always hanging out with you. It's been great, kind of like we talked about off air. It's been really neat to just cross paths with some amazing people. Like coming where I come from, I would have never even imagined that I would have met and been able to talk to any of the people of this caliber. Right. And so it's been great. I've grown a lot. And then about 5 years ago, started writing books. And that's another thing that it just blew me away, like a real book. Like to see my name. I
want to get into that later.
Yeah, like a real book. And so started writing books, and as of currently, I've been in or published 15. And so a few of those have been bestsellers. And man, I'm just really enjoying the journey. I'm truly grateful for every ounce of it. And I don't take any of it for granted. And that brings us to where we are now.
Great, man. Again, like I said, we're going to talk about those books in a minute.
Yeah.
But our focus on Winners Win and Leaders Lead is leadership. And so what I'd ask you is, and you've been around a ton of great leaders, and some of those leaders you and I have shared relationships with, but in your mind, who are the greatest leaders that you've been around, and what have they brought to your life?
Oh, well, I'm gonna start at the house first. I'm grateful and blessed, man, to have a superhero in my house. I was raised by a superhero. I always tell people that. And that superhero was my mom. My parents separated when I was young, when I was 5. Father was still in my life, but he was just, in a different city, different town. But my mother, single parent mom, man, that's where it started. And so she instilled in me some core common principles. And I think the big man has allowed me to have some awareness as well, to just, boy, be quiet and listen, ask for advice, it ain't about you. Like the big man has given me a heightened sense of awareness to just be able to learn along that journey. So, it's a number of people, my mother, my family, uncles, I'm a pastor growing up, coaches for sure. I mean, that life, coaches, teachers, but those are the people that I've been able, to touch and see and talk with. But then, vicariously people that I don't know, and some of them I do, like, TD Jakes, I love learning from what, his, E.T., Eric Thomas, the guy that we have in common, that we know, John Gordon. I've been blessed to meet him and connect with him. And so I think we can all learn from one another. I think, a lot of times we may get caught up in people that do like grandiose things, but really, man, the people that are doing the day-to-day things in a great way, we can all learn from one another. So those have been some of the leaders that I've had that I've been blessed to learn from.
Okay. Okay. And yeah, you like I said, you have spoken of some great ones. I had the opportunity, man. It's funny, talk about ET.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at the University of Tulsa, and I'm on YouTube. Man, I think in my mind, this is when YouTube first started at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'd never really heard of it before, but whatever. I'm on my computer and I'm looking for videos on YouTube that I can show my players, you know, before the position meeting. I can take some time, man, things to motivate them. So I run up on this video, this guy talking about, you know, going out in the water and
you want to breathe as bad as you want. Yeah.
Successful as bad as you want to breathe.
Yeah.
Then you be successful. I said, you know what? That's the video. So I show my players this video, man, and they, you know, it was really inspirational for them. Well, you know, we go on about our lives, and then there's a point a little bit later where I get an opportunity. I'm at an NFL, former NFL players event, and I walk up to get me something to drink, and this guy's up there, and he and I kind of speak to one another. I'm like, man, that guy sure looks familiar. Was he a teammate of mine? So I'm trying to figure it out. You know, I'm checking this guy out. He's kind of moving around the room, like thinking, man, when did I meet this guy? You know, but this is NFL players in this room. So he could have been a teammate of mine. So I couldn't figure out. Well, just a few minutes after I sit down, I take my seat. This dude's up on the stage. I'm thinking, it's the breathe guy. It's the guy, you know. And so, man, we ended up connecting. And I think I told ET over the years, hey, man, one of these days I'm going to be a head coach, and you're going to speak to my team. You know, it may cost the university $1 million, right? Because he's that guy, right? But one of these days, man, he's going to talk to my team. And so it's like you said, a great opportunity to learn from people that really who are aligned as you are, you know. And if you give yourself to, if you allow yourself to learn, then you can from quite a few people. So my next question is, because you talked about, you know, some of the things you've done and some of the things you consider very important for you to do, but what I'd like to ask you is why? You know what I mean? And taken from ET, you know, he talks about why. Well, another guy that I deal with all the time, Ben Newman. And Ben Newman is about your burn. Ben Newman is your burn. It's that what's that thing inside you that makes you go, that makes you do what you do? Why do you do it so passionately? And that's the question I have for you. Why do you do this? You know what I mean? Why? What's your why? What's your drive?
Man, just hearing you describe that kind of got me going. Like it kind of got me going inside, right? Because like I'm tapped into that, and that's why I do what I do. But I think the first thing is, like I explained with my mom, you know, like, you know, we give, like when we get interviewed and we do the bios and the intros, we give all those highlights, right? You know, all of those things that like, oh, he's done this, he's that. But like what people don't see is all of those things behind the scenes that you've had to grow through to get you where you are now, right? Like taking the shots. You weren't with me shooting in the gym, you know, like doing all of that stuff when nobody's seeing, and you have to grow through and push yourself through. And so just knowing some of the things that you know, family wise, I've had to go through, seeing some things that I've had to see that I still really don't talk about, but I use them. I don't use them as excuses. I use them as my motivation to drive me. And so I think for me, the thing that drives me is knowing, man, I got to pause a little bit before I even say this, man. Like, is knowing that I am able to make a positive difference in the life of someone. Wait, hold on. Like me, like all the things that I've been through, where I come from, like little old me, like I'm able to make a positive difference in the life of someone daily. Right. And so in knowing that, man, it's serious to me. Like each moment of each day is important. Like this moment of this day, we'll never get it back again. Right. They print money, right? But they don't redo time. They don't reprint, they don't make time again. So each moment of each day is important. And I attack it in that manner. Right. That's what drives me. I know that like once this moment is over, it's done. So I'm giving you everything I got right now. I might not be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'm giving you everything I got right now. And so I think for me, that's what drives me. That's what motivates me. And you know, at the end of the day, man, I just want to, you know, do stuff. Those people that have poured into me, that have influenced and impacted me, I just want to do some things to make them proud.
Yeah. Yeah. So you talked about impacting lives, man. It brought me to a story that I and I tell my players this all the time. I'm here in the Kansas City. I'm not far from Kansas City. So Patrick Mahomes, you know what I'm saying? So if Patrick Mahomes walks up, for those of you who are Kansas City Chiefs fans, Dak Prescott, you know, in Texas, right? When those kind of people walk up, when they sign your autograph, that's like the greatest thing in the world. So everybody would think that it's got to be a Dak Prescott moment, you know, the miracle from God, like the skies got to open up, the seas got to part. But I believe, man, that it's not that major. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be that dramatic. I remember once I was on the elevator. This is a story that you reminded me of. I was on the elevator once, and there was a lady on there. Her and I were the only ones on the elevator. And I said, "How you doing?" And she just kind of like half-heartedly said, I said, "No, I know you're better than that." I said, "Hey, the sun's out there shining. No. It's better than that answer." And guess what? It's people moving around all around the world, and you and I, we on this elevator, we can't even see any of them. I said that when we get off this elevator, that's our opportunity to go out into the world to see what's going on. And man, we were on like the 8th floor, and we got down to the 1. And before the lady got off the elevator, this lady said to me, she said, "Thank you." She said, I was thinking of killing myself.
Oh.
And I was like, wow. So when you talk about how any of us at any moment can influence anybody, right, for the better, if we realize that, not just Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott and you know, and those kinds of people, like any of us, if we take the time to, we can influence anybody. And so that was big time for me. So let's go back to that book you talked about. Right?
Okay.
You got those books. You are those books. You know what I'm saying? But man, the first book, right? The first book. Let's go back and think about that first book, because there have been people in my life who have told me that I should write a book.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling, there's some people that I've promised several times that I'm gonna write this book.
Got to.
Right. And I don't know, man. It's like there's a certain level of fear. There's a certain level of I can't do this. There's a certain level of all those things. But I would like to ask you, what made you write that book, that first book? What made you do that? Little old you.
Little old me. From Hearn, Texas. You know, man, I'm gonna just start with a quote, and then I'm gonna break it down to you. And the quote, and this is something I always say, and I live by, and I believe this. And that quote is, opportunities bring opportunities. And what I mean by that is, you know, I explained to you where I'm from. I explained to you things that I've had to grow through in my life. I explained to you the process, the journey, but I'll go back, you know, with the education and then starting the podcast. When I started the YouTube channel and podcast, the Success Chronicles, my goal was just to highlight others. Like I learned a long time ago in my life that it ain't about me. It's bigger than me, right? And my goal was to just highlight others and you know, highlight their success. And in that, I was blessed to come across some great people. And one of those great people that I met was Dr. Oliver T. Reed. He's from the DC area, DMV area, but he's a preacher, a minister. But what I didn't know is that he and his buddy, he had a friend, and they travel the world and teach people how to write and teach people how to self-publish. And so I was just striving to highlight his story, but I came in contact with him. We hit it off. We did some content, and he asked me, he was like, same thing like you said with the people, like, man, you need to write a book. You ever thought about writing a book before? You know, the same conversation I'm sure you have heard, you know. And my response was, yeah, I thought about it, you know, but I don't know all that other stuff. He's like, well, man, I'm gonna help you. So kicked it off with him. And we, you know, he was the first person that we co-wrote my first two books, Dr. Oliver T. Reed. And that kicked me off to the journey of learning and growing and being curious about the processes. You know, there were some things that he told me, and I'm gonna share this with you off air too, but there were some things that he told me that blew my mind away. And it shifted my perspective on, like, oh wait, yeah, I can do that. You know, we just need somebody, you know, in what we do in coaching, we just need somebody to show us that, hey man, it's possible. Okay, here's what you got to do. But then when you do it, you just watch them shine, right? You're like, let's go. And that's what it was for me. And so the first book was Growing Through Your Go Through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's motivation. That's inspiration.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So my next question is, so you told us why what you do is important to you.
Yeah.
Right? It's important to you. You got your why. But in this world that we live in, this society that we live in, why is your work important to the society? Why do we need you?
Well, I'll just say this. I just think in our world, we can't get enough positivity. I mean, like, we can't get enough positivity. I mean, we know negative is out there. You know, we choose to see it or not, like, it's out there. Bad things are going to happen, but we cannot get enough positivity in our world. And really, you know, my hope is to make a positive impact on everyone that I'm blessed to come in contact with. You know, to help them be better, to help our world be better. Because again, I don't feel you can get enough positivity. And at the end of the day, when I get to go visit the big man, right? My goal is to, leave a legacy. That's cool. But bigger than that, I hope that I will have been able to live a legacy by my day-to-day actions, by influencing and impacting people every chance I get. And so that's my hope of what I can bring, the value that I can bring to the world, to the society.
Yeah, I think, man, that we all are, you know, there's some people, they sing, right? They sing, musicians, they paint pictures, right? They do great sculpture, right?
Yeah.
There's some people who their contribution to the world that they live in is they gonna do something in medicine. They're gonna find some cures to some things that we've been struggling with. But man, I've always thought that my place in this world is to change the world. Is to change the world. What you said. We need positivity. Well, there needs to be, man. We're fighting to change the world, to make it, like you said, more positive, more caring. Love always stamps out hate, right?
Yes.
It cannot be darkness in light. You know what I mean? So to bring light to darkness, I've always believed that's my mission on earth. There's a book, I got it around here somewhere, book called The Energy Bus, written by our guy, John.
Yeah.
Ancient book. He and I talked about that book because in life, you have to have missions. You got to be here to do something, right?
Yeah.
What that book showed me is that all the different realms in your life, you live as a father, you live as a husband, you live as a coach, you live as a man amongst men. And in each of those walks, you should have a mission. You should have a way that you're living your life and a purpose. And mine, man, is mostly centered around changing the world through sports, right? I'm in this sports arena, and I just want to change the world through sports. So my final question that I got for you, and it's always a cool question because people give us some different kind of answers, right? And this question is, if you could talk to young Chip Baker, young Mr. Chip Baker, what would you tell that dude that you know now that you just couldn't figure out 15, 20 years ago? What would you tell the young Chip Baker that you know now?
You know, what's funny is, as you were setting up the question and asking, I had a certain way that I was going to go with it, but then you said was something that you couldn't figure out, right? Well, for me, I don't know, man. Like, I've been the same dude, and I'm proud of that, man. Like I'm proud. Of course, along the journey, there's a lot that, like, none of us are perfect. It's a lot that we got to figure out and work through. But along that journey, I'm proud of the fact that I've stuck to my core common principles, right? And that's, of course, your faith, work hard, do right, treat people right, put yourself around good people. And man, I wholeheartedly, with everything I got, believe that. And I'm going to do that. Like, regardless of the season, rain, sleet, or snow, regardless of how you feel about what I'm doing. No, I'm going to do that. That's my core common principles. I believe in that, and I'm going to do that. And so, man, like, I'm truly grateful again that the big man gave me some sense. Like, your mother, boy, act like you got some sense. That the big man gave me some sense to stick to my core common principles. And I've done that my entire life. So the things that I did as a kid, as a teenager, as a young adult, it's the same stuff I do right now. That don't change. I'm going to do that. And so I would just tell them, man, just keep doing you, dog. Live, learn, serve, inspire, and go get it, man.
Go get it. I love it.
Go get it.
Well, it's just always important, to, like you said, to live by, to figure out. Number one, you got to figure it out. You got to figure out what your path is. You got to figure out what your process is. You got to figure out what things, we all, in our program at K-State, we talk about our core values, right? So there's a whole lot. So ours are discipline, commitment, toughness, and selflessness. Those are ours, right?
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of others that you could choose. There's when we talk about core values, and the cool thing is, as we as a team talked about that, like, you get 100 people in a room. I mean, you can list 1,000 core values.
1,000 things, yep.
But which ones are important to you? Which ones are important to us at this moment? Which ones are important to us? And like you said, we're going to hang in there. We're going to stick by those. And some of those could be shaken at times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this, like what we used to say, is who we are. It's who we are. It's how we live, right? It's who we are. It's what we do. Is how we live. And once you decide upon that, man, don't be shaken. Because there's all kinds of outside opportunities to move you away from that.
But it always brings you back to center too when you have that. Like for example, I'll tell you, like in college, we know college, we know the college athlete life, we know college, and so wait, mama not here to, make sure, like, mom, what you mean? I ain't got to go to church, like all of that stuff. But faith was important for me. So, I may have strayed a little, but like, man, what you doing, Chip? Get your butt back in line, get back to that faith piece. Like what, man, what you doing? You tripping. Like you said, you was going to do things the right way. Yeah, you're right. I got to get back to my center. And so when you have those core common values and you are aware of those, you know, you may stray a little bit, you know, every now and then, but like you said, things may be shaky. But at the end of the day, when you reflect, again, I go back, no, I'm gonna do that. You know, no, we're gonna do that. We're gonna stick to that.
Yeah.
And when you allow yourself to do that, you'll be proud of what you accomplished. Like I said, I'm proud of in my life for the things that I've been blessed to achieve and do and see.
Oh man, I tell you what, this, like I said, we're pretty much informal, and we have a discussion, and then we let you go, right?
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate it, Chip. And just like you said earlier, man, it's been a great friendship over the years, to watch you do the things that you do. You know, I remember a day when you didn't have all that gray on your chin, right? And it was smooth on your chin. I covered mine.
Yeah.
There was the day when neither one of us had it, and now you do, right? Now you do, and so that's a mark of the things, like you said earlier, the things that you've gone through. And my grandmother used to always say that, man, gray hairs, that means you've been somewhere. You know what I mean? That means you've done some things. And so she didn't say there's things that you were proud of. She just said you've done something. And then surely we both have done something.
Yes, sir.
What I would pray is that we continue to inspire, that we continue to evolve, that we continue to grow and help people find their place in our world, because I think it's a great blessing, man, this opportunity we have to touch people. And I get to see it, man. I could go on and on the stories of people. It's most amazing for me when I learn from people that I don't know the impact that I had on their lives. Because it's some players that I've coached, you know, I'm with them every day, you know, but it's some people, man, that have shared with me over the years, that I have no relationship with, but I've had an opportunity to impact their lives. And to me, man, that's a special moment. You know what I mean? When
let me hit on that, if you don't mind. Well, first off, I'm gonna just say all of that you aspire to be, like you said, your mission, you're doing that because I've seen you do that for years. And I think that you're a true blessing in what you do and how you do what you do. But along the lines of what you said, people that you like, you have no idea that you're impacting. I had two things that happened to me today that happened to me. So there's this co-author in the book that I know. She had posted something about me and we were doing some work together. There's one of her friends that I didn't know they knew each other. I met this lady 2 years ago on an airplane I was headed to one of my book tours. And, you know, I had a book in my hand and, you know, we had a conversation. I signed the book and I gave her the book. I apologize for the technical difficulties. We're here, we had a storm, so we had a little power outage. But I like to tell people the content was getting so hot that it just knocked us off. We'll go with that. We'll go with that.
Hey, well, we know you're in Texas, and the weather in Texas, man. Hey, we're gonna get a storm over 5 minutes.
Yes, sir. Always rain. Can't keep the car clean.
After that, there comes a rainbow.
Yes, sir. Amen. Well, as I was telling that story, you know, what I didn't know is that that lady used that as her opener for her presentation because she was traveling to do a speech at that moment. And I just found that out today. And that was 2 years ago.